What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, we have to take a moment to discuss the peaceful protest that's going on all throughout Los Angeles, some of the peaceful protests that was going on last night, and precisely why Trump deployed the National Guards onto the streets of Los Angeles, right? And the long and short of it, because we're going to get into that portion at the end next, but since some people don't really stay all the way to the end, I just want to get this out of the way now. There's a lot of talk on the DNC side of things of how this is all Trump's fault and Trump is making things worse by deploying the National Guard. The reality is this, and we're going to get into it by the end of the stream, and I'll show you the videos if you haven't seen it already, right? The reason the National Guard essentially was sent out is because federal agents were literally under attack by rioters, very much so, literally under attack, dodging projectiles. And when I say projectiles, I'm talking about these lunatics, these savages were in the street, lined up on one side of the street and on the other side of the street, and they broke the curb from off the sidewalk, taking these cement blocks, breaking them into small or medium-sized pieces, stacking them to the side of themselves to have them as ammunition. And as ICE vehicles are driving in the middle of the street trying to get away, they are literally throwing these cement blocks broken off the sidewalk at federal agents. That is literally attempted murder. You don't have anything under control, Gavin Newsom, and that is precisely why the National Guard was deployed by President Trump. Let's just take a look now at the peaceful protest that was going on last night, right? Let's look at this for a moment. Let's jump over here, and we're going to go through a couple of video clips. This is Gavin Newsom yesterday. He says, despite protests already being managed by LAPD headquarters, President Trump is escalating the situation by threatening to deploy roughly 500 active duty Marines to the streets of Los Angeles. Okay, Gavin Newsom said that LAPD is managing this and it's all under control. Ladies and gentlemen, does this look like a situation that's under control? You let me know in the comment section. Once again, the city is literally burning down. They're burning cars, they're burning buildings, they're destroying property, they're destroying police stations, all while waving foreign flags. It looks to me like an invasion. That's what it looks like. It looks like to me the Marines are necessary. But if they come out, now you're going to cry. And that's what's the craziest thing. You're looking at stuff like this, and let's move on. I'll go to a different video. But you see foolishness like this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at this one. You see nonsense like this. And if the Marines come out, look at, there go to foreign flags again, waving foreign flags while burning the city down. If the Marines come out and handle business, now all of a sudden it's racism. It's racism. That was right. The Marines shouldn't have came out. The National Guard shouldn't have came out. The LAPD shouldn't really do too much of anything about this. No one should be held accountable. No one should be arrested. No one should get any charges, slapped on them and have their life ruined with felony charges, let alone federal felony charges. No, this should just be allowed to happen. And if you don't let these lunatics, these savages, conduct themselves in a savage fashion that they're doing, well, then that would be racism if you try to put a stop to it. This is completely ridiculous. And you have to take note, too. And you guys answer this in the comment section below. How come you never see stuff like this happening in Texas? I don't think I've ever seen anything like this happen in Texas. I'm not saying it never has in the history of Texas, but I mean, in recent memory, you never see stuff like this. You never see stuff like this happening in Florida. Never. Why is that? Because they're conducting massive ICE raids over there. I'd say they're cleaning up shop more in those states, in red states like Texas and Florida, than they are in liberal cities, because this is where they get the most backlash, right? In these sanctuary cities. They actually get assistance from the local PD, and they'll round up 1,400 at a time and get them up out of here. And don't think that there aren't people in those states and in those cities and red states, that disagree. and love open borders, but you don't see this happening, let alone even protesting for the most part. But you're definitely not going to see this. You know why? Because number one, the police are allowed to have a little bit more of a heavy hand down there, as they should, especially when you're talking about foolishness like this. But also at the same time, you will be charged and you will get hit with a stiff penalty upon being charged, as you should. A life-changing, if not a life completely altering penalty as it pertains to felony charges, as it pertains to jail time. I mean, doing that kind of stuff in Texas and Florida, look at this here. Once again, burning more cars while waving foreign flags. Doing this stuff in Texas and Florida and red states alike, you're going to sit down in that jail cell for a couple years. Your life is going to be completely ruined. But here in LA, where there are no consequences for this type of stuff, there's no consequences. To the degree that anybody got arrested, it's a little slap on the wrist. That's all. Don't worry about it. A little slap on the wrist. You know, you don't even go to jail. You come to the precinct for a little bit. We'll let you out in about 15 minutes. Just take your ticket and be on your way. That's why. That's why this is allowed to occur. And you know, am I wrong for saying as well, if you love the flag that you're flying so much, why aren't you living there? I mean, when you're talking about protesting and doing protesting the right way, which this isn't what we're looking at here. We're looking at savages. We're looking at savages participating in anarchy. This is what Democrats love because they feel like they have some sort of advantage in cases like this when anarchy occurs, right? But you see these folks flying foreign flags. If they were actually protesting the right way, if that is the actual goal, they'd be waving American flags. They'd be saying, we are fully American. We love America. We want to assimilate into this country. We've done so much for this country, yada, yada, yada. And we deserve to be here. We've earned our right to be here and earned our keep. And you'd be waving American flags, proud to be American. But that's not what's going on here. Look at this. You're seeing madness in the street amidst a sea of foreign flags. That sounds like the city has been taken over. It's overrun by a foreign threat. Under any other circumstances, that would be the case. But if Trump sends the Marines in, it's racism. He sends the National Guard in, it's racism and it's xenophobic. They're supposed to be allowed to just continue doing what they do. And then let's take a look at this here. Oh my God, this is rich. I want to get into this video clip next. California Congresswoman, I believe her name is Nancy Bargan, apparently did not realize that there was literally video of a car on fire as she claimed all protests have been peaceful. These people are just morons, to say the least. Let's get into this clip right now. I'm going to pull that clip up for you, and let's listen to this DNC lunatic explain to us how what we're witnessing right now is peaceful protest. It's all peaceful protest that we're seeing right now as we're watching cars burn down and buildings burn up at the same time. So let's get into this clip next.
We agree that if you're being violent, you should be arrested. You should be prosecuted. There is no disagreement on that. I think that's an effort that we can all say. But this is not what's happening. We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. And we know that California law enforcement, local law enforcement, they're there to protect the public. They're there to protect and have public safety. And that's what they're there to do. Now, when people turn on law enforcement is when you get that response.
I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. People like this representative here are horrible people. Horrible human beings. Horrible, horrible, horrible human beings. You know and see exactly what's going on. You're looking at the destruction and carnage that's happening. They're playing it simultaneously as you're talking, and you're completely spinning an entirely different narrative counter to the reality that's actually going on. that we see all around us, all on our television screens, and all on our phones. Horrible people, man. Horrible. And that's just to put it mildly. Now let's get back into, well, I shouldn't say get back into, but let's get into the foolishness of Gavin Newsom next, because Gavin's going to sit here and try to explain to us through a series of tweets why all of this is Donald Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. So let's get into that next. Let me pull this up for you right now. Now look at this tweet here from Gavin Newsom. Look, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Donald Trump has manufactured a crisis and is inflaming conditions. If he can't solve it, we will. To the bad actors fueling Trump's flames, California will hold you accountable. No, you won't. That's the joke of the week right there. That is a joke of the week. Like, can we read that joke again from Gavin Newsom? He said, to the bad actors fueling Trump's flames, California will hold you accountable. Nobody's going to get held accountable for this. Look at this madness that's going on here. More foreign flags waving while, you know, they take over the freeway and burn cars, cop cars in the middle of the freeway. This is a LAPD cop. No, that's a sheriff's department car. LA Sheriff's Department car being burnt down in the middle of the highway while foreign flags are being waved again. And is anybody going to get held accountable? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is just because to hold anybody accountable would be racism. It would be racism. And we can't have that. We can't have that. Let's get into some more of the foolishness of Gavin Newsom. It's amazing how you can blame any and everything on Trump. If you stub your toe when you wake up in the morning, it's Trump's fault. If you spill your coffee on the way to work, it's Trump's fault. You catch a flat tire while you're driving, it's Trump's fault. Everything is Trump's fault, not the degenerate lunatics that are actually creating all the chaos in the city, based on and rooted in ICE literally doing their jobs by cleaning up the streets, making the city safer by getting rid of criminal safety threats. No, that's not the problem. Trump is the problem. Look at this here. Gavin Newsom said, I have formally requested the Trump administration rescind their unlawful deployment of troops in Los Angeles County and return them to my command. We didn't have a problem until Trump got involved. Wow. Wow. He really wrote that. Gavin Newsom really wrote that. He said, we didn't have a problem until Trump got involved. It looks like things were very much so out of hand before Trump got involved. And as we're getting ready to close this video out, I'm going to show you what it looked like before, quote, Trump got involved. Man, once again, these are horrible people. Horrible people. We didn't have a problem until Trump got involved. This is a serious breach of our state sovereignty, inflaming tensions while pulling resources from where they are actually needed. Rescind the order. Return control to California. I'm going to try and be nice. I'm going to be nice. Let's talk about a little bit of what happened before Donald Trump took control, right? And got involved, because apparently when he got involved, that's when things went awry, but that's not true. Let's take a look at this article here. Let me scroll up so I can give you the title of this article in case you want to read it for yourself. And I strongly suggest that you do. Never take my word for anything. Let's look at this here. The article title, well, we got a long way to scroll, don't we? The article title is Los Angeles anti-ICE protesters clash with police, set fires downtown amidst National Guard deployment. Now let's get down to what the article has to say, and let's discuss and break down what happened before, quote, Trump got involved. So, as the article clearly states here, how this all started. Let's read how this all started before Trump got involved. On Friday evening, multiple immigration operations were conducted across Los Angeles, primarily in the Westlake District downtown and South LA, ICE officials confirmed. A single operation at a job site Friday resulted in the arrest of 44 unauthorized immigrants, ICE told CBS News on Sunday. An additional 77 were arrested around the same time frame in greater Los Angeles. ICE confirmed to CBS News Los Angeles that 4 federal search warrants were served at 3 locations in Los Angeles on Friday night. That's when this all started. As news of those warrants spread, protests broke out, the most notable of which was Friday night and took place outside of the federal building in downtown Los Angeles after demonstrators learned that detainees were allegedly being held there. A federal law enforcement official with knowledge of the operations tells CBS News that ICE requested assistance from LAPD multiple times over the course of Friday night. The same official said it took local authorities more than 2 hours to honor that request, although senior city officials in LA told CBS News that it took 55 minutes to respond, not 2 hours. I don't believe the senior city officials for anything, because the fact of the matter is this: number one, protesters, air quotes, held federal law enforcement hostage in that federal building by not allowing them to leave. That alone should have thrown those lunatics in jail for a long time. They literally trapped them inside. And when they called LAPD for help and for backup, because LAPD isn't supposed to and isn't allowed to by law to get involved with federal situations like this, right? They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to get involved with ICE or anything that's surrounding immigration. It's very plausible that it took them 2 hours to figure out whether or not it was okay to go down there so that they don't violate any of their own sanctuary city laws. And let's just pretend it took 55 minutes. That doesn't make it any better. So it took you an hour to get there. It took you an hour. Why would it take you an hour to honor their request? Literally a plea for help. We're trapped in these buildings by these lunatics. We need help. We can't get out. And LAPD sat there twiddling their thumbs like this. And to be fair, to some degree, a lot of the police officers across these sanctuary cities and states, they don't agree with not being able to help federal law enforcement. They don't agree with that. They would if they could, but their hands are tied and they're not allowed to. So I will be fair in that regards. But when it comes to these senior city officials that are most times than not very much so locked in lockstep with these DNC lunatics like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, they're full of it. They're going to lie and cover for these DNC lunatics all the time. All the time, every time. Now let's take a look at this here, because once again, what we're getting ready to look at as we're bringing this video to a close, we're getting ready to take a look at how things were before Trump got involved. What we're getting ready to watch right now, and let me pull this up on the screen and make it bigger. What you're getting ready to see right now is literally savages, enemies of the state, because these aren't protesters, these are enemies of the state. What they're doing is, look at it, they're making Molotov cocktails, and look at the cement blocks that they broke off from the sidewalks. They literally have pieces of cement. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Look at that here, Molotov cocktails and pieces of cement with a Home Depot bucket to put those pieces of cement in. And that's what they're going to use to literally attack federal law enforcement. This is how things were before Trump got involved. Yet Gavin Newsom has the audacity to say, we had everything under control prior to Trump getting involved. No, you didn't. You literally had enemies of the state attacking federal law enforcement. Look at this madness here. Literally everyone there involved should be facing an enormous amount of Fed time. an enormous amount of Fed time. And, you know, oh yeah, well, look at that once again, foreign flags, you know, on American soil in the middle of, you know, complete destruction and mayhem. But God forbid Trump sends the National Guard. God forbid he sends 500 Marines. That would be some sort of xenophobic racism. Can't do that. You can't do that. Let's look at this here. Let me pull this other video up for you next. Now, after they got their ammunition together, right? All of their weapons and whatnot to attack federal agents. Here's the attack. Like I told you guys, they're lined up literally on both sides of the street, and they are going to fire away at these federal agents. Look at this here. Let me explain something to you. I'm going to use slang terms you can say right now. It's codified language, right? If those federal, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask somebody in the comment section. They'll let you know what I mean. If those federal agents would have spun the block on them, it would have been very justified. It would have been very justified. It would have been, come on, man. If they would have spun the block, and you know what I mean, if they would have spun the block, it would have been more than justified. And I'll just leave it at that, because look at this clip here. And this is the last one, and we're going to bring this to a close. Check this out. So what you're getting ready to see right here is what it was like on the inside of these vehicles, right? As these federal agents were literally fleeing for their lives. Look at this. Look at the shattered vehicles. Look at how they destroyed them, as literally cinder blocks are coming through their window. Look at this. Look at this as they're trying to drive off. What we're going to watch next is what it was like to be on the inside. This is literally life-threatening right here. Literally life-threatening. Let's check this out as we bring this video to a close. Did you see the glass break? You saw how one actually came through. You would have thought that this was like in Iraq, somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. This looks like a war zone somewhere in the Middle East, like U.S. military in the Middle East. No, this is federal law enforcement being attacked on American soil by lunatics waving foreign flags. Come on, man. Come on, man. What we need an absurd amount of jail time. The same way that Biden had no problem going after January 6ers and body slamming them with jail time. We're talking about, I'm not even talking about the people that were actually fighting cops and that destroyed property and destroyed stuff in the inside the Capitol building. I'm talking about people that they literally walked in for like 10 seconds, looked around like this, and then walked out. People like that, January 6th, were tracked down. They weren't caught in the moment. They were literally pursued and tracked down by Biden's DOJ and body slammed with time as if they were domestic terrorists for literally entering in the Capitol building, wide-eyed looking around going, wow, and then walking out. 10 seconds got you 15 years. Crazy work. That is crazy work. I need some of the same thing, man. I'm going to need to see some news stories about these guys having their entire lives destroyed by way of, federal charges and maximum punishments. That's what we need to see, because this can't continue. This can't carry on like this, and a message has to be sent. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news and today's coverage of all the peaceful protests going on in Los Angeles. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also do not forget to follow me on Telegram. It is extremely important that you do that. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.